Hello everyone. In the present session, I'll cover standard I/O interface. So this is an example of a computer system using different interface standards. So we are having the processor block, main memory block, which is connected to the processor bus, and we are having one more bus called as PCI bus. PCI bus and processor bus are connected through a bridge, and to the PCI bus we are having some blocks like additional memory, SCSI controller, Ethernet interface, USB controller, and ISA interface are connected. To the SCSI controller, the SCSI bus is connected to the SCSI controller, to which the disk controllers are connected. To the disk controller, disk 1 and disk 2 are connected. To the CD-ROM controller, CD-ROM is connected. So here we can observe that to the USB controller, there is a sub-blocks like video, keyboard, and gaming software are connected. So to the ISA interface, IDE disk is connected. So this is just example of a computer system using different interface standards. So those standards will take in brief in the next part. So we are having three major standards of I/O interface. The first standard is PCI, that is nothing but Peripheral Component Interconnect, SCSI, that is Small Computer System Interface, USB, that is nothing but Universal Serial Bus. So PCI defines an expansion bus on the motherboard. SCSI and USB are used for connecting additional devices both inside as well as outside the computer box. That means inside as well as outside the computer box. So next, SCSI bus is a high-speed parallel bus intended for devices such as disk and video display. USB uses a serial transmission, and IDE is nothing but integrated device electronics. So here the disk is compatible with ISA, which shows the connection to an Ethernet. So next we'll take one by one. First we'll take PCI, Peripheral Component Interconnect. So PCI is developed as low cost bus that is truly processor independent. So PCI bus is which offers low cost and which is truly processor independent. So PCI supports high speed disk, graphics, and video devices. PCI has plug and play compatibility for connecting I/O devices. To connect new devices, the user simply connect the device interface port to the bus. So whenever the new device is to be connected, the user can simply connect the device interface board to the bus. So next is data transfer in PCI. Data transfer in PCI. So data transfer means, so we have to consider read operations as well as write operations. So during read operation, when the processor specifies an address, the memory responds by sending a sequence of data words from the successive memory locations. So during read operation, the processor will specify an address. So with respect to that specified address, the memory will respond by sending a sequence of data word from the respective memory locations. So that means from the successive memory locations. So similarly during write operations, initially while performing write operation, the processor will specify where exactly it need to perform the write operations. A sequence of data words is written into the successive memory locations. So sequence of data words are copied or written or loaded into the successive memory locations. So PCI supports both read as well as write operations. So here in the PCI concept, we are having one bridge called as PCI bridge. So PCI bridge provides a separate physical connection to the main memory. So it behaves as it behaves in order to provide a separate physical connections to the main memory. The master maintains the address informations on the bus until data transfer is completed. So here the master will maintain the address informations of the bus until the data transfer is completed. So at any time only one device acts as bus master. We know the concept, like at a given instant there will be only one bus master. So a master is called in an initiator, which is either a processor or DMA controller. So the master may be either processor or the DMA controller. The address device that responds to read and write commands is called as target. So the address device that responds to the read or write commands, so that is called as target. So in the PCI concept we are using two terms called as an initiator and the target. So initiator is nothing but which may be either processor or the DMA. The target device, that is nothing but the device which will respond to read and write commands. So a complete transfer operations on the bus involving an address and burst of data is called as transaction. So the complete operations on the bus involving an address and burst of data transfer, so that is called as transaction. So here we can observe that use of PCI bus in a computer. So we are having, as I mentioned before, we are having one PCI bridge which will connect to, which will make the connections from the host as well as main memory into the PCI bus. But disk, printer and the Ethernet interface etc. can be directly connected to the PCI bus. But memory is connected to the PCI bus via PCI bridge. So here the data transfer signals on the PCI bus are clock signal, frame, AD, C bar BE, initiator ready and target ready, as well as we are having DEV device select and initialization device select. So these are the some data transfer signals can be considered with respect to PCI bus. So this is the read operations with respect to the PCI bus. So here we can observe that clock, with respect to the clock, we are having the frame need to be transmitted, address and commands and initiator ready, target ready and device select signal. So now we'll take during clock cycle 1, the processor asserts frame to indicate the beginning of a transaction. So that means the transaction is nothing but initiation, specification of address and data transfer. So which sends the address and address as well as address lines and commands on commands line, that is C bar BE lines. During clock cycle 2, the processor removes the addresses and disconnects its drives from the address lines. So now later we have to select the target, so which enables its drivers on AD address lines, fetches the requested data to be placed on the bus. So next it will select the target, asserts the device select signal, maintains it is asserted state until the end of the transaction, and C bar BE, which is used to send a bus command and used for different purpose during the rest of the transaction. So during clock cycle 3, initiator asserts ready signal, that is initiator ready signal. So this is initiator ready signal. If the target has the data ready to send, then it will assert target ready signal. During clock cycle 5, the initiator or indicator uses the frames to indicate the duration of the burst, since it read 4 words. The initiator negates frame during clock cycle 5. During clock cycle 7, after sending 4th word, the target disconnects its drives as well as negates device select signal during clock cycle 7. So next is SCSI bus. So SCSI stands for Small Computer System Interface. The SCSI bus is connected to the processor bus through the SCSI controller. The data are stored on a disk in blocks called as sectors. So each sector contains several hundreds of bytes of data. So this data will not be stored in contiguously memory locations. So in sequentially we are not storing the data over here. The SCSI protocol is designed to retrieve the data in the first sector or any other selected sectors. So using the protocol, the data can be retrieved with respect to the sectors. So data can be retrieved from the first sector or any other specified sectors. So using SCSI protocol, the burst of data means huge set of data are transferred at high speed. The controller connected to SCSI bus are of two types. The first one is initiator, the other controller is called as target. So first we'll take what is the meaning of an initiator. So initiator has the ability to select a particular target and to send commands specifying the operations to be performed. So the initiator has the ability to select some particular target device, so that it can send the commands in order to specify the type of operations which is to be performed. They are the controllers on the processor sides. So they are nothing but it behaves as a controller itself on the processor side. So next is target. The disk controller operates as a target. So it carries out the commands it receives from the initiator. So the target is nothing but which receives the commands from the initiator, and the initiator establishes a logical connection with the intended target. So initially the initiator has the ability to select the target, and it will specifies the commands as well as type of operation is to be performed, and those commands will be received by the target, and later the initiator will establish a logical connection with the intended. So steps for read operations. The SCSI controller contends for control of the bus, that is nothing but an initiator device. When the initiator wins the arbitration process, the initiator selects the target controller. Also, it will hand over the control to the target device of the bus. The target starts an output operation. The initiator will send the commands specifying the required read operations. So at the target side, so it will send a message to the initiator indicating that it will temporarily suspend the connection between them. Then releases the bus. After performing the operation, it will release the bus. The target controller sends a commands to the disk drive to move the read head to the first sector involved in the requested read operation. So the target device, it will sends a command to the disk drive in order to move the read head to the first sector which is involved in the requested read operations. The sector will be specified by the initiator, so that the target device, it will request the disk drive to move the read head to the first sector so that it can perform the requested read operation. So the target transfers the contents of the data buffer to the initiator and then suspends the connections again. The target controller sends a command to the disk drive to perform another seek operation. An initiator controller receives the data, it stores them into the main memory using the direct memory access process. The SCSI controller sends an interrupt to the processor indicating the data transfer are now available. So after performing the entire data transfer, that means read operation, the SCSI controller will invoke one hardware signal to the processor which indicates the data, now the requested data are available. So these are nothing but SCSI bus signals. So we are having the data data. So the data lines from data DB0 to DB7 total 8 data lines, and DBP, that is nothing but parity bit for the data bus. So followed by phase, we are having two phases, that is busy and select. So busy signal is asserted when the bus is not free. So selection, that is the signal which is asserted during selection and reselection. So information type is C bar D, that is control bar data and message signal. So handshake signals are like request and acknowledgement signals. So direction of transfer, that is the name is IO, that is input and output operations, asserted in order to indicate an type of operations, whether it is an input operations or output operations, which is related to the initiator and the target. So we are having the other categories like ATN, that is attention, asserted by an initiator when it wishes to send a message to the target. And the last command, that is the last signal, that is reset, causes all the device controls to disconnect from the bus and assume their startup state. So next we'll take phases in SCSI bus. So we are having the phases like arbitration, selection, the data or information transfer, and the reselection. So arbitration, when the bus busy signal is in inactive state. So whenever busy signal is in inactive state, the bus will be free. So BSY signal is used in order to intimate whether the bus is busy or not. So at that instant, any controller can request the use of the bus. So now the SCSI uses distributed arbitration scheme because each controller may generate request at the same time. So more than one controller may request at the same time. So each controller on the bus is assigned with a priority. So when bus busy signal becomes active, all the controllers that are requesting the bus examines the data lines and determines whether the highest priority device is requesting the bus at the same time. So depending upon the priority, the respective devices will gain the control over the bus. So next comes the information transfer. So that is the exchange of informations. The information transfer between two controllers may consist of commands from the initiator to the target, status response from the target to the initiator, or data transfer from to or from the IO devices. So basically the information transfer consisting of commands from the initiator to the target. What kind of operation is to be performed, read or write. The status response from the target to the initiator, as well as the data transfer mode, either to or from the IO device, into the IO device or from the IO device. Handshake signaling is used to control information transfers with the target controller taking the role of bus master. So next comes the selection. Here the device will win the arbitration process and asserts bus busy signal and the data signals. So now which selects the target controller responds by asserting bus busy signal. So this informs that the connection that it is requested is established. So now one respective controller will gain the control over the bus. The last phase is reselection. So in the case of reselection, the connection between the two controllers has been re-established with the target in control of the bus as required for data transfer to proceed.